Welcome to the Motormouth YouTube channel. I'm Zach.
I'm Andrea.
And this is Questions, Coffee, and Cars number 217.
Yep.
So a guy's at home watching this, woman too, and they're thinking, I'd like to take part. How would they do that?
Follow along on Instagram at Motormouth_Andrea. Every Sunday I put a post out asking for questions. Once we gather them, the post is deleted and we start the show.
Time now for Questions, Coffee, and Cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
I ordered a 2026 Kia Sorento hybrid in August. However, once it arrived on the lot, it sat there for 3 weeks before they would lease it to me, due to Kia Canada not releasing lease pricing until October 2nd. Very annoying, frustrating, as Hyundai had their 2026 Santa Fe hybrid pricing long beforehand. Is it normal for dealers to get vehicles on lots almost a month before pricing is announced?
Yeah, because what happens is cars are delivered to the dealership and then they have a release date where they say they're going to release them to the public. For example, this past weekend, we did the Volkswagen Tiguan Turbo, and we were told at the launch event that every dealer in the country had received a couple of them, and then they have a release date where they release the hounds, and you're allowed to buy it. So the good news is, when that release date comes, at least you know the car's there.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I did reach out to Kia Canada, and when it comes to leasing, sometimes they don't have the leased price yet available. And that sounds like the case with you. But if you had actually paid cash for it, or maybe like a third-party loan, then you could have moved forward with it.
So what the car companies do is they say, okay, we have a Sorento 2026. They set the residual value of the lease with guides from companies like ALG and Black Book and so on. So what they might have been waiting for also is the numbers of residual retained value on a vehicle after 36 or 48 months, and maybe ALG or Black Book or whoever they use hadn't given them the number yet, so they were waiting on that. So it's a couple of things. Had the car officially been released? It sounds like it has. So my first scenario isn't true, but the residual value one is probably the case.
Yeah, and it can change from model to model. It would just happen to be the Sorento for you and that hybrid. I'm really interested in the 2025 Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid. I've heard mixed opinions about the Mitsubishi Outlander and its reliability. What's your opinion? Well, if you go on to Facebook forums, people are really happy with their purchase of the Outlander plug-in hybrid. It has great range. They like the driving dynamics of it, and they actually get better range than the EPA numbers. There was only one incident when it was really cold, and it had
Really
to do,
cold.
yeah, it had to do with the 12-volt battery, and I would say that it was like minus 20 Celsius, minus 4 Fahrenheit, and colder, that this issue was at play, where the 12-volt battery went dead and people couldn't start their Outlander plug-in hybrid. We actually had it that week, and it was cold here as well overnight,
But
to minus 15 Celsius, but we had no problems.
Okay, so if you look at anything that you want to buy, you want to look at a brand who's been doing something a long time.
Yeah.
The longer they've been doing it, the better typically the reliability and the bugs have been worked out and so on. So a couple of things going on here. Mitsubishi has been at the plug-in hybrid game pretty much the longest of mainline car companies. I think the only one that does it longer is Volvo, which is a luxury brand. They've been at it a long time. So the good thing is that they're kind of on their they're getting towards their third generation of this. And if you're not in a rush, wait for the 26. The 26 is going to have even more plug-in range, and it's going to get the updated infotainment screen. It's going to get the updated stereo. So unless there's such a good deal on a 25.
I've heard there's a good deal.
So there might be a good deal on the 25, but you can play this game a little bit longer. The new one's supposed to come in the new year, and then the 25s will then be a model year old. and they might have even better discounts to get them off the lot, or just wait for the new one.
And it makes sense that it's going to have more range because you look at the new RAV4 2026 model, it's now got 80 kilometers, 50 miles of range. So Mitsubishi wants to go up from that 60 kilometers
61,
or 61 kilometers
What's
that's
a kilometer
being
between
offered.
friends, Andrea?
Maybe it makes a difference for some people. But anyway, I think that it's great to hear that they're going to increase the range. I think it's a big player. The only suggestion I have is make sure that you have a Mitsubishi dealership in your area, because if you don't and you run into problems or there's a recall or something is going on, you don't want to have to travel a great distance to get it fixed. It can be a real pain.
Just want to jump in last on that. And people who are watching this from the U.S., they're like, Mitsubishi, is that really a thing?
Yeah.
In Canada, Mitsubishi is becoming a bigger and bigger player each and every year. It's not the case in the U.S., and it's mostly because of dealers.
And they offer so many trims, so you can get into a plug-in hybrid that may cost a little less than some of the competitors. Andrea, can you expand on what you mean when you say you prefer an engaging drive? What is it about the driving experience that makes it engaging? Is it the instant power, the tougher steering, the way the car moves and turns, harder suspension? Would love to know.
Okay, don't answer. I'm
Okay.
gonna guess for you, okay?
Okay.
Because we never really talked about this. Andrea
No.
feels like the engaging drive.
Yeah.
I think it's a heavier steering for Andrea. She likes to feel like there's some weight with the steering. She likes to feel the road and doesn't want it to be floaty-boaty.
Yeah.
And she likes a snappy engine. Am I right?
You're right. You're right. Like, I really like that precise and sharp steering. Something a little bit heavier, as Zach said. A little bit of a firmer suspension. Not to say that I want to feel every bump in the road, but I want it to feel planted when I take those corners. I want to be able to feel the road.
It's interesting.
I want to be connected.
Andrea's little Ruby, her beloved MX-5, it's quite interesting because it has sort of like, it's got, you want to be able to feel the road through the steering wheel. It's got that. And you can definitely feel the road through the chassis, but it isn't firm. It's actually, it's quite smooth, but you just feel that, you feel connected to the road. I think that's what you're looking for.
Absolutely. And also, I have to say that even though the suspension isn't super firm, I'm not sure you would want it with the MX-5 because it is loud. You've got the roof down, but what I love about it is just the way that it takes corners so easily. And it doesn't have a ton of power, but I always feel like I'm speeding.
You feel like you're going a million miles an hour. Okay, one thing that's really quite interesting about connected driving and suspension. Most people think, oh, you've got to have a really firm suspension to feel the road. That is not true. What you really need is a very rigid platform, and the MX-5 has that. So it's very small, and therefore they can make the platform rigid, even though it's a convertible. And I'm going to use an example, which is the Golf R. So the Golf R is a small, compact hatchback, and it's got a very rigid platform. And because it has that, they can actually let the suspension be a little bit softer, and so you can get it in the corners, and it doesn't bounce. It's just, you let the suspension work more. With a rigid platform gives you a more engaging drive. So firm doesn't always mean better.
And I have to say, I personally actually prefer the way the Golf R handles over the GTI, because the beauty of the GTI is that it's a nice blend of performance and power and comfort. And I think that that appeals to maybe more people as a daily driver rather than the Golf R. But I prefer the way the Golf R feels.
It's
it
the
just
power.
makes me super happy.
Yeah, it's more powerful.
I want to give an example of one. The BMW Z4 has tons of power. It had the manual transmission, the one that we reviewed, but it's tuned for comfort. So although it handles incredibly well, the suspension is a little bit softer. And I didn't like it as much as the feel of the Miata.
Yeah, it was, even on its sportiest setting, we found it was quite soft. Great touring car. Like,
Great touring car.
If you're going to put miles on it. Anyway, it's very individual to the specific model, but that's a general overview.
If you're a driving instructor, which car would you use for teaching? Ascent, Palisade, QX60, and Highlander V6. Ooh, oldie Highlander. Which one is most reliable if all are used?
Okay, so, excuse me, this is for driving school? Is that what it says?
It just says if you are a driving instructor.
I wouldn't
So
choose any of those. They're all far too big. Like people who are learning to drive, all of them are a bit overwhelming. They're all kind of big.
So if those are the only ones that you're saying, I think we should answer the question. There are two that I would pick. I
Okay,
agree
what are
with
they again?
Zach.
The Ascent?
Ascent,
Uh-huh.
Palisade, QX60, and Highlander V6.
Okay, I've got my two.
Okay, so I just want to say that I agree with Zach that, for example, the Palisade and the QX60, way too big, especially if you're mostly doing city driving. I'll use our boys as an example. On our street, you park on both sides, and the streets in the city are quite tight, and they get overwhelmed by a wide vehicle, especially as a new driver.
Yeah, so when you're parallel parking, the front of the vehicle swings out to the car on the opposite side of the street. So
Yeah.
you got to know what you're doing. I would choose Ascent for outward visibility.
Same. And so outward visibility, it is a big vehicle, but it doesn't drive like a
No.
big vehicle. Like you don't feel like it's too wide. You sit up and over the dash. You've got that greenhouse effect. That's the one I would pick as well.
Okay, there's a reason why driving schools go with the Honda Civic and the Toyota Corolla, because they're small enough and maneuverable enough and certainly reliable enough that you can use them regularly. Honestly, I'm just giving you my honest feedback. I wouldn't choose any of those for driving school.
No, I wouldn't. But if you wanted an SUV, how about a Crosstrek? Just something that's small. Like
obviously-
if you didn't want to go with a sedan.
I'm reading between the lines, Andrea. This is
Yeah.
a person that wants a 3-row SUV and also wants to do double duty.
Maybe so.
So I think that maybe just get a good used Civic.
What are some safe, inexpensive first cars for teens, used or not? Well, we can speak to that right away. We own a Civic. We bought a Civic when our boys learned to drive. You could go with a Corolla. We just went with the Civic because it looks a little bit sportier than the Corolla.
The number one reason was this was 5 years ago. It's amazing how time goes by. We bought a 3-year-old off-lease Civic, and that's a good thing. You can go into a Honda store and say, hey, have you got any cars coming in off lease? And they'll know. And the guy who sold us the car knew that this car was coming in, and it only had low miles on it. Someone had just driven it around the city. And it was like brand new. And the reason why we chose the Civic and maybe the Corolla is it was the first year it had the forward collision warning system.
Yeah.
So if you have a new driver, young driver, and they're learning how to drive, they get distracted, and that forward collision warning thing, that's the beep, 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 beep when you're coming up behind something, saves their ass. And it has the autonomous braking. So that's why we chose a 2017 Honda Civic, because it was the first year that had that on the trim we wanted.
And we talked to Toyota actually about the Corolla, and they said, yeah, it has it too for 2017. We actually,
No, it was
at the
2018,
time,
I think they came out.
no, I
when I
clarified with them because we actually chose the Civic because we thought the Corolla didn't have it. And then when we told Toyota Canada, they go, yeah,
but
2017 does.
But what they didn't tell you is it wasn't standard. It was only on select trims.
There you go.
So that's the thing.
What was the other one? And then I would do, I mentioned this already before, Crosstrek. I think you could pick up a used Crosstrek. There isn't too much power. We find with the Civic, with the boys, just enough power.
Okay, so one thing is if you're looking for used is because they're not cheap or new, it's a Jetta.
Yeah.
And a Jetta has all that stuff too, so that's something to consider.
Now, we did recently buy a Bolt EUV, a used one, because for
I just
Jack.
want to say something, Andrea.
Yeah.
So in our last Questions, Coffee, and Cars, we put a title up that said we bought another car. And
Yeah.
I can't believe how many people are interested in the cars we buy.
I know. We have a lot
that
of
one
cars.
went crazy. It
That
got
one.
like 100,000 views in a couple of days.
That
It was crazy.
That was the best Questions, Coffee, and Cars that has ever
Ever.
gone out.
I said-
16.
I yelled up the stairs because I'm downstairs looking at the computer, and this was like a day later. I said, already got 65,000 views.
I know.
And I said to Andrew, we should just buy cars.
I know.
And then sell them.
When we put that out, we were actually on a plane coming home, or we were going to
No,
Detroit.
we were on the plane.
I think we were going to Detroit to drive the new
No, it was on
Tiguan.
Thursday. We came back Thursday.
Okay,
night.
we came back Thursday, so we were on our way home, and that's right, we were going back from Detroit to Toronto and then Toronto, Vancouver. Anyway, Zach and I were like, wow, it's gone #1. Excellent. I also want to point out for Jack, because he is a new driver, that Bolt with all of its driver assist features, like forward collision warning, it's really great because it's a bit... it's a bit nanny.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? That's not a bad thing for a new driver. Is
Excellent.
because I know what I was like when I was 16 or 18 and you would be like playing with the radio or looking for your sunglasses. I used to be a courier. I would be eating a Big Mac and fries driving along, and then I'd look up and then all of a sudden it was all red lights.
Yeah.
But if I had a system that went beep, 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 it would give you that extra few seconds warning. So anyway, what were you going to say? You were going to say about the Bolt.
Yeah, I was just going to say about that the safety is just so good on it for Jack. Like I took him out in it and I said to him, like, Jack, you have all of this driver assist technology available to you, because he's still like, I don't know how close I am to the car. Look at your camera. It shows you right there.
Got cameras all the way around.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think for price, safety, economy, reliability, and resale value,
Yeah.
Civic and Corolla all day.
Currently driving a 2015 Lexus RX 350 F Sport, approximately 112,000 kilometers. Oh, sorry, miles. 112,000 miles.
It doesn't say what year it is.
Yeah,
Okay. Oh, yes,
2015.
That's 10 years old. Okay.
Thinking about my next buy, what is my best step? Top priorities: reliability, looks, comfort, and smooth ride. Crown Signia, although the droning, and my current V6, this person loves, which I get. Newer RX, what else should I look at?
I go right back to the Lexus store
Same.
and get the new NX. And if you don't want a hybrid, try it. You'll be surprised how good it is. Get the 350, which is the Turbo 4.
Yeah.
The Crown is great too. I just find the Crown, it's kind of expensive. And I think the NX is, I don't know, you decide.
If you don't need the larger space of the RX, go for the NX, but you will find that the RX is more refined. You know, it's just smoother, cabin's a little bit quieter, but there's lots of options within the Lexus lineup. I would just stay with Lexus.
And they'll be happy to have you back, and they
For
should
sure.
treat you well. And there you go.
Considering buying a Cayenne hybrid or SE hybrid, given you own 2 Cayennes, have you heard of any major issues with the Porsche PHEV platforms?
Okay, I'm going to answer
Yeah.
this one.
Certainly have.
Yes, if it isn't the newest one that's just come out, I would steer clear. We're getting the new one, by the way. It's coming in a few weeks, which we're looking forward to driving. We are sitting in a Porsche Cayenne. If you're looking at Cayennes used, you will see that the hybrids are cheaper. They are also the most problematic. And I heard this from a little birdie in my ear from the dealership, said, we don't really see much in the way of the regular ones. We get more issues with the plug-ins. So I would say, sure, try it out, but I personally wouldn't buy one.
I personally wouldn't buy one for a few reasons. First off, I just want to say that owners who have the e-hybrid love the way it looks. Like, they love the styling and they like the way that it handles. I wouldn't buy it for a few reasons. First off, it's pricey. It doesn't offer that much range. I don't know why you would go for an e-hybrid over just the gas model. I just don't think that the difference in price is going to make it up with gas.
Yeah,
like,
so I
it
think
just seems silly.
It sounds to me like they're looking used, because they're talking about an SE hybrid and an E hybrid. So the older ones were called SE hybrid.
Okay.
And then they went to E hybrid. And now I can't remember what the current
Okay,
one
so
is. We're going to get it in a few weeks.
So there's lots of reported issues with the e-hybrid. Check engine light going on, software issues, PCM module replaced, electrical system fault message. A Porsche tech had posted on a Facebook forum. This was 5 months ago. He wrote this, and he said there's known issues with the fuel tank isolation valve on hybrids. At the time of the post, he said they still didn't really have a fix for it, and he's not fond of the hybrid himself. And then I just think it's a pricey option.
So if you're looking in the used market, the car we're sitting in here is called a 958, which was last sold in 2018 as a V6 and was last sold in the car we're in, diesel, in 2016. Now, you go shopping looking for low mileage 2016 or 2015 Porsche Cayenne diesels, which get killer fuel economy and have amazing torque and amazing towing capacity. They're worth probably 10 to 20,000 more than the hybrids, because people know that this power plant will run for hundreds of thousands of miles, and yeah, and it's reliable. So yeah, I'm just giving you the honest answer. I would spend your money on something else.
I would too. Super happy with my RAV4 Prime full tech pack and thinking about expanding the family. I don't see many options for large plug-in hybrids. For example, the Grand Highlander doesn't have a PHEV option. Okay, I'm forced to evaluate the X550. It's more expensive, but worth every dollar in my opinion.
Oh, okay. This person's right. If you're
Yeah.
thinking about getting a plug-in hybrid, look at the newer BMWs, because the newer ones have much better range.
Also, the GLE plug-in hybrid from Mercedes-Benz, we really liked that one a lot.
But only the newer one. The original ones were terrible for range.
Yes.
I think they only had 18 kilometers of range, something terrible like that. So the X5 and the GLE, only the ones that came out in the last couple of years.
Then, of course, there's also Volvo, who's been making plug-in hybrids a long time with the XC90, but I don't know, reliability with Volvo isn't always there. It's hit and miss. Some buyers say I've had no problems. Others say, oh yeah, I've had issues. So you're right. There aren't a lot of options. So you'll just have to drill down. I really like the X5 plug-in hybrid. I think BMW did a really nice job with that. What are you most looking forward to when driving the all-new 6th generation RAV4 hybrid?
Wait a second, Andrea.
By the way,
okay, we have driven it. This video is coming out before the embargo, so we can't really say how we like it.
We can't really say, but before we had said that we wanted to know how quiet it was. Is there better insulation in the cabin? That was a big one, wasn't it?
Okay, so
we can't say.
Andrea and I have driven the Woodland. We drove the Woodland and we drove the Limited.
Yeah.
And both of them hybrid. They didn't have the plug-in there, unfortunately, for us to drive, but that's not a big chunk of the market anyway. The hybrid's going to be the big one. And we did a review and we talked about the outside. We talked about the inside. We spent a lot of time talking about the noise.
Yeah. Or not
or
noise.
lack of noise.
Yeah.
Or the noise level.
Noise
that's what I
level.
mean by noise level.
Yeah.
And we had a day much like this. It was raining.
Yeah.
So it's going to be coming out, I believe it's the 22nd of October or 23rd of October, the embargo lifts. And your internet feed is going to be plugged up with RAV4.
It's going to blow up on everything. There's this embargo. There were no pictures allowed, so I couldn't even put anything out on Instagram.
Took some good pictures. You'll see the
some
pictures.
Good pictures.
When the embargo lifts, you'll see the great pictures.
Oh, we also got a tour of the Woodstock plant, which has 2 RAV4 lines going. Do you know that they make a RAV4 every 58 seconds? They're still producing the 2025 model. They won't be doing the 2026 until the beginning of 2026.
Yeah, so the factory in Woodstock does the bulk of the lifting for RAV4 for North America. So the plant they have in the United States produces only about 50 to 100,000 RAV4s a year. The Canadian facility, which includes Woodstock, which is about 300,000 units, and then you add in Cambridge, which is another 100 or 200,000. So they're making a massive, well, pretty much most of the RAV4s that you will buy will be made in Canada. And they're very proud of it because the Canadian Toyota facility is the #2 ranked factory in the world for quality behind main Lexus factory in Japan.
Anyway, it was this super interesting tour of Woodstock. We both really enjoyed it. Woodstock is going to be making the panoramic sunroof. Remember, the RAV4 hybrid never got a panoramic sunroof. So Cambridge isn't going to make the ones with the pano roof. They do the NX with the pano roof. But Woodstock will be making the RAV4s with the panoramic sunroof.
So anyway, it's only about, well, it's about a week to go. And then all the RAV4 videos are going to be coming out. But this is the channel you should watch.
And guess where we'll be when the RAV4 video comes out?
Oh.
Japan. We'll be in Japan.
Getting set for the mobility show.
Yeah, going to the mobility show. So we look forward to sharing all of that with you, and we're going to try and cover like a huge variety of vehicles at the mobility show, so keep an eye out for that too.
I think we'll go and do a wander around some of the Chinese EVs.
I think so
that would be
too.
kind of fun because we don't have access to them regularly,
No.
so we'll do a little look and see what we can find there.
Yeah, I like to do BYD. They look
Well, I
pretty
think
great.
if Neo is there, you should see Neo because Neo I think is pretty funky.
Yeah, I've seen
Anyway,
some online.
that's all the time we have, Andrea. So if I'm a guy at home or a girl at home and I'm
Yeah.
watching this and I'm thinking, you know, I'd like to get a question in for that. How would I do that?
Follow along on Instagram at motormouth_Andrea. Every Sunday I put a post out asking for questions. Once we gather them, the post is deleted and we start the show. Before we end this, I just want to say somebody
Your hands
had
are freezing,
comment. I
freezing
know, I
cold.
run cold. I run
Wow.
cold.
Yeah.
Warm heart, cold hands. Anyway, somebody wrote and said, you know, you're on over 200 episodes of QCC.
Yeah.
I don't think that you need to say where they can get a question in.
No, that's
Believe it
wrong.
or not, I am asked that all the time. How do I get a question in?
Okay, a little pro tip for you YouTube users. You can just skip forward. You don't have to
Yeah.
listen to that part. I
No.
watch all these people. I have a watch guy I watch. I have a watch guy I watch regularly, Federico. And his little Q&A that he does the same shtick at the beginning too. I just go skip, and then you could pick up where all the goodness starts.
By the way, we've been watching Clarkson's
Farm.
farm with Jeremy, and I'm loving it. It's so good. Funny. I love Lisa too. She's so great.
I love Gerald. But anyway,
Gerald,
it's
yeah.
funny because Andrew and I were looking at each other going, oh, there's nothing new on Netflix we want to watch. And I said to
No.
Andrew, do you want to watch Clarkson's Farm? And so we went right back to season 1. I had watched
Yeah.
the first 3 seasons and I'm watching them all again. And you know what? He is such a good storyteller.
He's
He's
so
so good.
good.
And, you know,
Oh my
empathetic, you know, with the animals are in trouble or whatever. He's anyway, it's such a good show.
And
And the other thing is maybe for little kids wouldn't like it because of their animals. But anyway, it's a show that kids could watch with you.
We just finished watching the mushroom episode, and he's like, they've just produced so many mushrooms, and he says to Lisa, "You better get selling," and she's just rolling her eyes. Anyway, it's really a lot of fun.
It's on Amazon Prime. It's
Yeah.
worth watching. So there it is. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.